Welcome to the Ogden City Council's quick meeting recap for the work session, City Council, and special RDA meetings that took place on Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. In the work session, the Council reviewed and discussed zone text amendments to revise parking requirements for dedicated low and moderate income housing. The amendment reduces required parking for dedicated low and moderate income housing from 2 stalls per unit to between 1 and 1.4 stalls per unit in residential zones. The amendment reduces the maximum parking standards for low and moderate income housing in commercial zones from 1.75 stalls per unit to 1.4 stalls. The minimum remains at 0.8 stalls per unit. This item will be considered in the meeting on July 5th, 2022. The Council then reviewed and discussed Waterwise landscaping ordinance amendments. The proposed amendments include placing a limit on how much landscaped space may have turf grass in new commercial, industrial, and multifamily developments, allowing more rock and mulch to be used, various changes to the city's landscaping requirements. These changes were necessary for Ogden City to qualify for participation in Weber Basin's Flip Your Strip incentive program. This item will be considered in the meeting on July 5th, 2022. The Council then reviewed and discussed the development of a park strip lawn conversion program. Ogden's park strip lawn conversion program is being offered in partnership with Weber Basin's Flip Your Strip program. This program would allow residents to qualify for a rebate of up to $2.50 per square foot to convert existing living grass and park strips to water-efficient landscaping. No further action is required by the Council for the park strip lawn conversion program. The Council then reviewed and discussed proposed amendments to planning application and processing fees. The Planning Department performed a thorough analysis of its application review process to determine appropriate application fees for the many land use and planning applications the division receives. The study found that of its average annual expenses for reviewing and processing applications, the Planning Division only recovers about 13% of its expenses through application fees. The proposed amendments estimate revenue of $334,880, or 54% of the division's average expenses for reviewing and processing applications. This increase would help the Planning Division recover a large portion of the actual cost of reviewing applications and give them the resources needed to provide a wider range of planning services. In the Council meeting, the Council recognized Greg Montgomery for his invaluable contributions to the Ogden community. Greg worked in the Planning Division for 40 years. He was involved in several major development projects and initiatives, including the Make Ogden Downtown Master Plan, 9 Rails Creative District, Ogden River Parkway, Municipal Gardens, Crossroads of the West, the preservation of Ogden's historic landmarks, various street name changes, and many more. Greg was also involved with the adoption and implementation of the General Plan, Bicycle Master Plan, and Recreation Master Plan. Through common consent, the Council set public hearings for the fiscal year 2023 budget for July 12, 2022 and August 2, 2022. The proposed budget includes Schedule A1 changes and a proposal to increase the certified tax rate by 18.83%. To contact the Council regarding the proposed tax increase, residents may submit comments by leaving a voice message at 801-629-8158, by submitting comments at ogdencity.com/public input, or by email at citycouncil@ogdencity.com. After a public hearing, the Council adopted the fiscal year 2022 Annual Action Plan and Budget Amendment Number 3. The Annual Action Plan Amendment Number 3 specifically addresses the allocation plan for $1,652,923 of grant funds related to the Home Investment Partnership's American Rescue Plan program, or HOME ARP. The Council adopted an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2022 budget for a gross increase of $1,652,925 to reflect the changes proposed in the Annual Action Plan Amendment Number 3. As part of the Annual Action Plan, the Council amended the program guidelines for the Business Recovery Fund. These amendments split the BRF into 2 programs: Business Recovery Fund BRFJ, which addresses the job creation and retention objective, and Business Recovery Fund BRFM, which addresses the microenterprise limited clientele objective. After a public hearing, the Council adopted the fiscal year 2023 Annual Action Plan. The total for the fiscal year 2023 Annual Action Plan budget is $8,753,358. The Annual Action Plan budget consists of entitlement funding, program income funds, carryover funds, and tax increment housing funds. The Annual Action Plan indicates how funds will be spent over the coming year, and it establishes annual goals and outcomes for programs and projects funded by the CDBG and other federal grant funds. The fiscal year 2023 Annual Action Plan is for the 3rd year of the city's 5-year consolidated plan. After a public hearing, the Council amended the budget to recognize and appropriate funds for a water conservation program. The amendment transfers $100,000 from general fund balance to the Water Conservation CIP project. This funds a program that complements the Weber Morgan Water Conservancy District's Rip Your Strip program program and is designed to encourage residents to convert park strips into Waterwise plantings. Landscaping ordinance amendments and program guidelines are in the final phase of completion and will be considered by the Council on July 5th, 2022. Additional funding for the program will be appropriated with the fiscal year 2023 budget. After a public hearing, the Council adopted a budget amendment recognizing a transfer from Ogden City to the RDA for Wonder Block development. The amendment transfers $2,500,000 from Ogden City General Fund balance to the RDA Continental Project area to cover pre-development costs for the Wonder Block project pursuant to the Pre-Development Services Agreement. An associated budget amendment was adopted in the RDA meeting. After a public hearing, the Council amended the budget recognizing additional revenues to pay for needed costs. This amends the fiscal year 2022 budget in the amount of $3,676,250. The budget amendment recognizes additional revenues including ramp funds, transfer dollars within major funds, and transfer dollars from fund to fund. The amendment covers needed equipment, services, facilities maintenance and improvements, debt payments, workers' compensation, and other important operational costs. The Council then held a public hearing to allow public input on the proposed transfers from the city's enterprise utility funds to the general fund. The proposed transfer is specific to the water, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, and refuse utilities. Ogden is proposing a transfer from these utility funds into the city's general fund to act as the collection of franchise and property tax, which the city receives from other non-city utilities. The transfers are included in the fiscal year 2023 budget that is scheduled for adoption on August 2nd, 2022. After a public hearing, the Council adopted a resolution awarding arts grants for fiscal year 2023. The fiscal year 2023 budget includes $150,000 for arts grants, which is $50,000 more than last year. Out of the 24 applications submitted, 21 of them received funding. Applications were reviewed by an arts subcommittee, which was comprised of members from the Arts Advisory Committee, the Diversity Officer, and a staff member from Community and Economic Development. After a public hearing, the Council adopted the fiscal year 2023-2027 Capital Improvement Plan. The CIP includes a total of 58 projects, 17 of which are new. There are 29 one-time projects, 25 perpetual or ongoing projects, and 4 ramp projects. The fiscal year 2023 budget includes $3.2 million from the general fund and $10.6 million from other funds for various projects to improve Ogden's infrastructure for water, sewer, streets, and general facilities. The entire recording for the meetings of June 21st can be accessed on the Ogden City Council's Facebook page and podcast with timestamps to skip to specific agenda items. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to the Council office at 801-629-8153 or send an email to citycouncil@ogdencity.com.